Yes, that is a chandelier made out of antlers on my screen. Stick with me. I'm going to tell you why it's there and how you can remember that to help your business. In this video, what I'm going to do is explain to you why your business is getting stuck and why it is failing to execute. I'm going to give you a plan for how to break through those barriers that are holding you back. And I'm going to answer the story as to why a chandelier made out of antlers is on the screen. I'm Peter Allen. I'm the host of this channel, The Discipline of Simplicity. I'm a certified EOS implementer, a certified Working Genius facilitator, and I successfully used both of those systems and ran those in my companies for 7 years before we sold that business. So stick with me. We're going to run this through and we're going to teach you how to break through those bottlenecks that are holding you back. The truth is that most businesses do not have a vision problem. And by vision, what I mean is strategy. What they really have is an execution problem. And why is that? Your team is busy. They are very busy. But what you're finding is that you're having the same problems quarter after quarter. The same things that you talked about in October are the same things that you were talking about in May. You go in, you have big plans, and you've got big things on a sticky note. It's all over the poster paper. And guess what happens? You come out of that meeting and the plan does not even make it until Wednesday. You have a lot of A players in your company and they are doing a lot of C player work. They are not performing at their maximum potential for you or for your business. And you have meetings and you are not making decisions. You are all talk, no decision, nothing changes. If you are seeing those problems, this video is for you, and I'm going to teach you how to break through these types of things that are holding back your company from the performance that you really want. See, what's really going on, we call this the execution gap. And what the execution gap is, it is the gap between the vision and the reality of what is really going on in your company. From a vision perspective and strategy, you will take your offsites. The strategy document is up on the shelf. You told us to the bank that this is what you're going to do. This is where you're going to be in 3 years' time. The reality of what's really going on is you are firefighting day after day after day. It's the same problems that are getting rediscussed. The initiatives are stalled at 70%, and you, the owner, are stuck in the weeds. There are really 3 reasons that execution stalls. The first one is that we confuse activity for progress. You pack your schedule to the gills with meetings and reviews and planning sessions and calls. It's packed. If you look at your calendar, you probably cannot find another time to put in a meeting, and you probably have triple and quadruple stacked times that are stepping on top of each other. That needle on your business is not moving on what actually matters. Part 2, we do not have a system. We do not have a system for staying focused. We don't have a regular cadence for how we run the business, and urgent work always takes the priority over important work. Quarterly priorities just die in the noise. We set out with the best of intentions, and 2 weeks into the quarter, everything has shifted. We lost track of where we're going, and now we are just firefighting and hoping to stay afloat. The third thing that's going on in our business is we tolerate friction when we should not be doing that. We have people that are not in the right places in the company. We have undocumented processes. We have issues that drag on for months and months and months. And all of these small things coming together are holding you back from making the progress that you need to make. Every business can be boiled down to 6 things. And it was at this moment where I was standing in Beaver Creek, Colorado. I was in a hotel conference room. I was looking out and sort of drifting off from the meeting, and I was staring up at this huge chandelier made out of antlers. And that was when it clicked for me, because the person we were working with that was teaching us how to break through in our business, whose name was Paul, looked at me and said, Pete, which of these 6 key components is holding you back? Which one is holding the team back? And that was when the model clicked into my head. He wasn't talking about a specific pain point in supply chain or operations. He wasn't talking about cash management. He wasn't talking about customer acquisition. He was having us think about our business as 6 key components and how they all came together to build a better business. That chandelier clicked, and I still think about it today. Those 6 key components are these. We have vision, we have people, we have data, we have issues, we have process, and we have traction. And how do you think about those issues? And how do you think about those core components of the business? Vision means, are we all rowing in the same direction? If you asked 20 people in your company, would you all get 20 same answers about where you are taking that business? Would everybody be on the same page about what's important 10 years from now, 3 years from now, 1 year from now, and 1 quarter from now? Are we all aligned and all on the same page? People comes down to 2 things. Do we have the right people, and are they in the right seats? And when we say the right people, what we mean is, do we have people that share our core values? And when we say, do we have the right seats, we mean, do we have people that are truly great at their job? Data means, are we running our business on facts, figures, and numbers, or are we doing it on gut hunch and gut feel? We have to have a robust set of numbers that helps inform us as to how the business is performing. Issues comes down to, are we solving problems in the business or are we rehashing them? If you're talking about the same problems over and over and over, you have problems in the issues component of your business. Process, do we have a standard, documented, one single way of truth for how we do the main processes in our business? And finally, traction. Are we making consistent progress toward our goal? And are we getting things done? If you think about your business against these 6 key components, it will add clarity to where you need to focus to start improving your company. Let's start with vision for a little minute, and let's do a double click. If you are seeing these signs, it is a sign that your vision, your strategy, we're all getting in the same direction, might be kind of weak. The leadership team cannot agree on what the 10-year target is for that company, and they can't all say it the same way. We have core values on a wall, but we don't use those core values for anything else. Employees cannot articulate what makes our company different from a competitor. And if you think about yourselves in 3 years' time, it changes every 6 months. It's changing. What does the 3-year picture really need to look like of where are we going to be? And every time we ask, we get a different answer. What you want to do when your vision and you're having those types of challenges is, first, you want to lock that team in a room. And what you want to do is spend about a half a day agreeing on your values, on your 10-year target, and your 3-year picture. You want to make sure those things are rock clear. Part 2, you want to get all that down onto a single page of paper so that we can articulate clearly on one piece of paper what our vision is for this business. And part 3, we reinforce this every 90 days. People. You are struggling in the people component if you have multiple people sharing a critical role. You're also struggling if you would hesitate to rehire 1 or 2 people on your leadership team. Another sign of struggle is underperformance that gets ignored for longer than 6 months. We just keep kicking the problems down the road. And finally, we tolerate B players because we feel that replacing them is too expensive, time-consuming, and too much of a hassle. What you want to install when you have a problem with vision is what's called an accountability chart, where you clarify every role within the business of what's required. You then want to run a tool, which is called a people analyzer, where you look at your people and you ask yourself two things. Do they possess my core values? And are they really great at their job? And finally, you need to make this accountability really clear. For each one of those seats that's on the accountability chart, you want to create 5 roles that each seat is accountable for in the business, a measurable, a number that they hold in check for us, and we make sure that we have weekly check-ins with that team. Data, running your business on data and numbers. You are weak on this if problems show up in the finances way too late. Decisions are made from gut feel and from the loudest voice. Each leader points to different numbers when it's asked, how is the company doing? And there is no single scorecard that the whole team rallies around and knows this is how the business is running. What you want to do here to solve the problems with data is first develop a scorecard of 5 to 15 critical numbers that indicate how your business is doing on a weekly basis. Part 2 is you assign a human owner to make sure that every one of those numbers is owned by a single person, and one person can clearly articulate how that number is doing every week. And last, you open every leadership meeting with your scorecard where the owners of those metrics will call out whether that number is on track or it is off track for the business. Issues. How do we know if we have trouble with the issues? Well, first a sign is that the same problems show up in your meetings week after week, month after month, quarter after quarter. If your conversations talk about symptoms and not root causes, that is a sign that you are weak in the issues department. Decisions get deferred to the next week, or you hear this a lot. We will need to take that offline because we are not solving this meeting in the meeting like we should be. We're calling a follow-up meeting to do that over and over and over. And people stop raising their hand because they fear the political cost of raising their voice. If you hear those types of things, you have problems in the issues component of your business. So how do you solve for this? First, keep a running list of these issues. Keep it present, keep it top of mind so everybody knows what we need to focus on resolving within the business. We use a 3-step system. It's called identify, discuss, and solve. First, we clearly state what the issue is in 3 words. Then we discuss it with everybody getting their chance to have their voice heard with no repetition. And finally, when everyone has been heard, we move to solve. And when we solve, we decide what we're going to do, who is going to do it and owns it, and when it is going to be done by. And finally, you need to make it safe to be the messenger. You need to build a culture where it is safe to raise your hand, it is safe to bring up the issue, so that everybody wants to share what is a challenge within the business so that we can resolve it for the betterment of the company. Process. How do you know if you have trouble in the process department? You have trouble in the process department if the business cannot run for 2 weeks without you. If you cannot go on vacation without your business falling apart, you have a problem in the process department. If 2 people in the same role do the same job 2 different ways, that is a problem in the process department. In my company, I had this exact example where I had the same job. I had 2 project managers. We had an ERP system, and we had 2 very different ways of doing the exact same thing in the system. One was right, one was wrong. We had to get them onto one right way of doing the work. If new hires follow Jane around for a month because that is how you ramp them and train them into the business, you are lacking process. And quality is uneven because You never quite know what that finished product is going to look like because no one does it the same way twice. That is a problem in the process department. How do you solve this? First, list out 6 to 10 core processes, those high-level processes that you must get right within your business. Document each one of them using 8 to 12 steps maximum. If you can do it in 6 to 9, even better. Then you train it, you follow it, and you measure it. And then periodically, when you need to, you adjust it and update it. And what do you do after you update it? You train it, you follow it, and you measure it. And finally, traction. How do you know if you have a problem in the traction department? Well, if you have quarterly priorities and they are dying because of urgent work, you have problems in the traction department. If your leadership meetings end without decisions and without owners, you have a problem in the traction department. You finished less than 80% of what you commit to doing, you have a problem in the traction department. In my company, we had a metric and we called this the say-do ratio. If you said you were going to do it, how many times did you do it? And we wanted to get that ratio as close to 1 as we could get it. And finally, there is no rhythm. There's no predictability. We are always reacting. We are always firefighting. That is a sign of problems in the traction department. How do you solve that? I want you to set 3 to 7 key priorities for the quarter. Only 3 to 7 for your business, for your leadership team. These are the 3 to 7 most important things that we need to do in the business this quarter. Then I want you to run a weekly level 10 staff meeting against it. It's a 90-minute meeting where you update on everything that is key and critical in your business, followed by an hour of discussion of resolving the issues using that IDS process that I talked about in the issues. And I want you to set yourself up on a quarterly and an annual cadence, meaning every 90 days, I want you to come in and I want you to assess what happened in the prior quarter, learn from what happened, and then set new priorities for the next quarter. And then once every 365 days, you'll do an annual planning session where you do an exact same process, but you do it for the full year. We assess how last year was, we learn, and we set forward for the next year. If you do those things, you are going to make your business start to hum. Now, as you come through this, there are different patterns that emerge, especially in these companies with like 5 to 25 people. Quite often, we will see a company that has a strong vision, weak traction, right? The owner locks in, the owner communicates, we know where we want to go, but we are not getting things done. When we see that type of problem, we want to have quarterly priorities, which we will call rocks, and we want to make sure we are tracking and updating against those every week that we are getting those done. Sometimes we will see strong people with weak data. The team is talented, but they are running on instinct. Quality is good, but problems are spotted late. And when we have this type of a situation, we have to make sure that we stand up the scorecard with those 5 to 15 critical numbers, and we make sure we review those numbers every Monday morning to hold this business to a cadence and to make sure we are seeing the problems early so we can action them when we need to. And then sometimes what we will see is strong process, weak issues, which means things run smoothly from day to day. But the same friction shows up month after month, year after year. Hard conversations are getting avoided. And when that happens, we have a problem in the issues department, and we need to work on team health. We have to work on that culture of bringing the issues forward so that we talk about those things. Now, my recommendation to you, here is the pro tip. Do not fix everything. Fix one thing. If you can fix one thing, you will gain momentum and you will start building traction and you will start reinforcing success. What I want you to think about is, what is my weakest component as a business? I want you to focus on, we're going to solve this issue over the next 90 days. Plan for something that you can drive for the next quarter. And I want you to think about the concept of having an owner, not a plan. And what do I mean by that? Put the accountability to one person to get that done. That person will then figure out the plan. Small habits applied weekly will build improvement in your company, and it will change the trajectory of your business. If you get 1% better per week, which is doable, you will be 67% better in a year because those gains will compound. And if you do all of that in 2 years' times, you'll be 2.8 times better as a business. Small daily, weekly wins will win you the race at the end of the day. 3 things I want you to do next Monday morning. First, I want you to lock yourself in a quiet place. I want you to get away from your laptop. I want you to get away from your phone. I want you to have a journal, and I want you to have a pen, and I want you to take what's called a clarity break. And for 30 minutes, I want you to only think about 1 or 2 questions that are important in your business, and you've been like pulling your hair out on these issues. And I want you to just think, and I want you to journal your thoughts. I want you to journal your feelings, and I want that clarity to come. There has been some issue you have been neglecting, and I want those thoughts down on the paper. Then what I want you to do is I want you to think about that clarity break, and I want you to think about the component that is holding you back. And I want you to pick 3 things you can do to strengthen that component. I want you to lock in on those 3 things. And then I want you to agree that over the next 90 days, you are going to fix those problems within your business. I want you to hold yourself accountable to that. And I want you to drive for success. If you start doing these 3 things next Monday, in 90 days, you are going to have a better business. I would love to know what the friction is that's holding you back in your business and how you are going to apply these types of learnings and go out and put them into action in your company. Please hit me up in the comments down below, or you can contact me with the information on that screen. I'm easy to find. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for giving me attention. I'll see you again soon. Take care.